Dear judges of the International Court of Justice, my name is Raki Ap, an indigenous leader from West Papua, the western half of the island of New Guinea. Unfortunately, colonialism isn't something from the past. For many indigenous peoples, including those in West Papua, colonialism is very much alive. The UN IPCC report 6 is very clear. The scientists have said that colonialism is one of the main drivers of the climate crisis. West Papua once lived under the Netherlands as colony, and then it was transferred to Indonesia. Once again, we live under a colonial regime. So after we became part of Indonesia, what you saw is that the press is not allowed to come to report in West Papua. NGOs are banned to come to work in West Papua. So basically, West Papua is a unknown space for many people, with the result that corporations can do and get away with whatever they want to do, which you see in deforestation, ecosystem destruction, and also the violation of a lot of human rights without accountability, nor from Indonesian officials or executives from mining corporations. A clear example in West Papua at this very moment is one of the world's largest deforestation projects in the southern part of West Papua, which is one big sugar plantation. Another example is the world's largest gold mine. Imagine that the rivers that the villagers use to cook their meal, to wash themselves, is a toxic river. So the kids get poisoned, the fishes that swim there dies off, and the entire ecosystem will be disrupted, won't be giving life anymore. So this is just an example of one mining company, and you have many of these companies all across West Papua doing exactly the same. All of these activities by this multinational have resulted in that we can't live in a healthy condition, that our mothers can give birth to healthy babies, that our identities and cultures are disappearing because we can't practice in the forest that is disappearing as well. Dear judges, so I want to ask you to make sure that our human rights are being protected against the greed of the corporate executives and the governments, for having security in foods, in practicing our culture, in having healthy waters, healthy environments, and not allowing corporations create deforestation, because the forests are supermarkets, the forests are our pharmacy, the forests are our homes, and while we lose the forest, we basically lose everything that we had and that our ancestors have given us for thousands of years. Please, judges, listen to our voices and allow us to have our human rights. Basically, the reason I try to tell stories every single day is because my father, a famous anthropologist and musician from West Papua, was assassinated by the Indonesian military 4 months before I was born. And unfortunately, my father's story is just one of the hundreds of thousands of stories of indigenous West Papuans. In less than 60 years, at a total population of less than 2.1 million indigenous West Papuans, almost a quarter of our people, confirm reports of NGOs, have been killed in the deadly silence of the world. Understanding my father's songs in a more deeper way, I really understand the importance of the forest, importance of the environment, the importance of our rivers and the mountains. What my father has told us through his music and his work as anthropologist is that when we lose our forests, our mountains, we will lose our practices, which are very much connected to the same forest. The way we hunt, the way we cook, the way we practice our culture. So when all of this will disappear, we will lose our identity. And then what will make us West Papuan? It's exactly those practices, those environment, the way we dress is what make us an indigenous West Papuan. An important element that I want to add also is that indigenous peoples globally exist of 5% of world's population, but their way of living have preserved more than 80% of world's remaining biodiversity. Looking at the current state of our planet, I think it is absolutely needed that indigenous peoples should have the right to practice whatever they've done for thousands of years. Because in these practices is how the ecosystem flourish. In the right to control the area is how we have preserved the ancient forests for thousands of years. So it's not a matter of right. It's a matter of urgency, understanding the important role that indigenous peoples have played then and now in preserving Earth's crucial ecosystems. So having that said, I would ask the judges to allow indigenous peoples to practice their rights in the way that they deserve. And that right to self-determination is absolutely important to make sure that the forest will stay intact and that the ecosystems can continue as they have done for thousands of years. Dear judges of the International Court of Justice, would you hear my call?